What's up, players? This is Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and right now we're getting ready to have a six-pack challenge match with Potsy and Tino on the big podcast show. Holla at the
player. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pan Network brings to you as tag team champions of the world. Can't even say Pots and Pans Network because you're the road dog Tino Gray, the badass Rob Potsy Pochak. He's got me fucking like completely like off balance at this point. The Potsy and Tino Show. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cat. Thank you so much for the wrestling song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. And for everyone out there, we apologize for being late tonight. Tino and I were talking about some personal life stuff. I was a little bit late getting here. I apologize. But we were talking about some personal life stuff. So Tino, I want to go ahead and say, sorry, Joe, you're right. We are late. I hope you stick around because I got some big news that you already know, but I want to go ahead and announce it to the entire audience. Michael, thank you for being here. Chris Barrett, hey, yo. We're getting ready to have a survey. How many of y'all are here to see WCW? And how many of y'all are here to see the That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say the Potsy and Tino Show. Yeah, brother. Woo! Anyways, okay, can we stop with the turkey bullshit until like Thanksgiving? Please. Blah. So, Tino, we always start the show with the segment. You know what the segment is. I'm just going to let you go ahead. No, it's not. It's not the holla, holla, holla. Although we should probably change it to the holla, holla, holla segment. That actually sounds like a pretty cool segment. Yeah. But Chris Barrett says, we're all here to see the Potsy and Tino Show. That's one more win for the good guys. Woo! Right? Too sweet. That's right. Big Kev and medium Scott. Wait, remember when he used to always say like the big guy and the medium-sized guy are here for the NWO. Yeah, so I gave you the easy stuff to drink. I actually it's the most expensive stuff I had in the house, but actually the second most.
It went down the wrong pipe.
Oh, because I got stuff that's a little more expensive or less expensive, but much easier. Like it feels like it's much easier to say.
It went down the wrong way. Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
Tino, it's been a little while since we've been in the same room together.
Yes.
And I already started. I started the segment already. We call it "What's Up with You."
So what did I do last week? Last weekend I went out of town with the Hickory. Had my show.
No, I'm kidding. I didn't even drink it yet.
Had a good time there and came out to work. I got a dual shows this week. Friday night I'll be in Fuquay at the Abbey Road in Fuquay, and then Saturday we'll be at in Clayton at the First Street Tavern.
Oh, the Abbey Road. Is that like an actual like Beatles place?
They have Beatles stuff on the wall.
That's cool.
So they have one. They started out in Cary, then they built one in Apex, which is down the road from me, and then there's one in Fuquay now.
And you're going to the Fuquay.
I'm going to the Fuquay one.
You gonna play Beatles songs?
We have a couple of covers that we do, but I mean, you
Do
don't have
you?
to play the Beatles. Well, Waba does. Waba does.
Okay. So you'll sing them, but
No, he'll sing, and I'll get to take a break. He does the Beatles stuff.
oh, so you'll be at the bar
Mhm.
for a Rolling Rock or some shit.
We don't do Rolling Rock.
That shit was garbage.
It was free. So
It was free, so he didn't care. But okay, continue.
And then, so between all that, tomorrow I have to go to a funeral for a friend of mine whose sister passed away. So that's gonna, that's a little hump in the week. I don't know. My wife's like, nobody likes funerals. I just don't. I don't really like doing funerals, but I'm gonna be there, to support. Be there for my friend and his family.
You know what it is? Funerals, everybody looks at as and I apologize, and I didn't even we didn't set this up or anything, but people look at funerals as an ending.
I'm gonna have a party at my funeral. I already told her.
And I remember going up to Philadelphia for my grandfather's funeral, right? It was the last time that I think. Now, my mom had 9 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And almost all of them had between 3 and 4 kids. There were some that even had 5 kids, like my Uncle Jim had 5 kids. And it was like the last time that we all got together. Now, when my grandfather passed, I wasn't old enough to drink. But they did it like the old school, Irish funeral, which was you had the really Catholic. Every grandson grabbed the casket and walked the casket to where it needed to go, right? And let me just tell you, I was like 16, right? My cousin Bill was 15, whatever it was. My cousin Bill and I were super close until I don't know, 2 or 3 years later than that, but super close. Where my parents would drop me off, go to Philadelphia, and actually spend a week with them during summer vacation because I was off from school and everything else. And it's because I knew him, and my parents driving back and forth between Philadelphia and New York where we lived. Anyways, when my grandpa passed, him and I used to always talk about baseball and everything. But my grandfather was super into bowling. Dude had a 263 average. Okay. If somebody told me that he had multiple perfect games, I'd believe it. I don't know, but I'd believe it. So anyway, we always said my grandfather was 85 when he passed. We all said that he wouldn't have passed at the moment that he got hit by a car. Okay. So he gets hit by a car. And yeah, I know, folks. This is like crazy. My grandfather gets hit by a car on his way to the bowling alley to go for his weekly bowling event, and he gets out of the car and gets sideswiped, gets hit by somebody, breaks his neck, does all this crazy shit. My grandfather stays alive long enough so that everybody that went to visit him got to say their goodbyes to him.
Is your mom or your dad's dad?
This is my mom's dad. And at this point, he did all that and he passes, and everybody's like, wow, this tough son of a bitch. Because he was going to go bowl where he had a 263 average and he passed away. And it's like, wow, okay. So you can't be more metal than that, and he actually, I mean, he had the halo on and for a couple weeks until everybody got to visit him.
A couple weeks.
It was like I don't know exactly the time frame, but like it felt like it was a couple weeks. But when he finally passed, we'd already driven back down to North Carolina. We're sitting. He was in Philadelphia. We're in Philadelphia. We get word that he passed away, and family's like, "Well, we got to go up there." At this point, like I said, I'm like 16. What like? It's weird because you see pictures of it and you think you're older.
Mm-hmm.
You see pictures of yourself like at like the funeral, and you're like, "Holy shit! I was like 12."
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Like who is that?
Yep.
That's not me. Like somebody they recast. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what they recast me in this. Like they found a really good Rob Pachak lookalike right there. Anyways, and folks, I'm serious. This is like when you look at a picture for the first time, that's really what you think. You're like, that's not me. Or you think it wasn't that long ago. But it was that long ago, right? So anyway, like the whole idea, the whole passing and everything else, yeah, it sucked, but the family got together, and when they did, one of the interesting things about it, was like we never got the family. Like my family tried to get everybody on my mom's side together every year. They really did. And they would rent out a place in a beach town, Seattle City, New Jersey. They would rent it out. They'd rent out the place. And originally it was like they'd rent out multiple places because like, let's try to get everybody at the same place, at the same time, whatever. When my grandmother was alive, she would rent out the same place for a month, and every cousin or aunt or uncle, whatever, would be able to pick out the weeks that they would actually stay there. And it was like this little fucking shack. It was like a 3-bedroom place that my place here is bigger than.
God damn.
Okay. And my grandmother would sit there, rent this place out, and she'd be like, okay, who's staying where, blah, blah, blah. And every week of the month of August was like separated out so that way certain cousins could stay and whatever. So we never all got to see each other.
Okay.
When my grandmother passed, everybody started going, hey, like all the aunts started saying, hey, how do we get this to be something where we can all actually like hang out and see each other and everything. So they all started like renting a place for a week rather than the one place for a month, right? It was crazy, dude. Like just all of that. But my point to this is that like it was just really cool seeing all these people trying to like fulfill what my grandmother really wanted, which was everybody still loving each other and being around each other and everything else. So it was just weird knowing that it all started with like my grandpa passing and everybody trying to get there for it. And I guess where I started this was this. When he passed, I was 15, 16 years old. And I was probably the 5th or 6th oldest grandson. So I was told, hey, you're carrying the casket. Okay. And everybody listening, I was like, hey, you're carrying the casket. And I'm like,
I won't carry it.
Well, I'm so much smaller than some of the other grandkids. And like, yeah, but you're still in the line. Like they need at least 8. you're like number 4.
Okay.
So you're gonna do it. And I'm like, okay. And then somewhere along the line, one of the uncles, aunts, cousins, whatever, was like, Grandpop actually told everybody he wanted to be buried with his bowling balls.
Ball. That's plural.
Bowling balls.
Oh my God. How many were there?
Well, see, that's the whole thing. Like, you're sitting there going, how many fucking are there? like how many bowling balls did this man want to be buried with, right? And I'm literally going through this whole thing like, how am I gonna hold up a casket? Being like, I got my 2 cousins who were like 300 pounds and like football players.
Helping too?
No, my brother wasn't one of the top 8, if you will. I don't think. He might have been, but if he was the one that like everyone was sitting there going, he ain't carrying shit. You know what I mean? But we're all and I'm like, how the fuck are we gonna carry this? He's got like 16-pound ball. Because my grandfather would have played with a 16-pound ball. Like the top ball that you're allowed to play.
Yeah.
That's what he would have played with. Like there was no question. Because I played with a 16-pound ball. And I'm.
So how many balls did it end up being?
There were no fucking.
They were fucking.
They were fucking with me. But the fact is that he was a 230-pound man in a casket that probably weighed 250 pounds.
Yeah.
So one side of the casket is like this, the other side of the casket is like this, because you got like the 2 oldest grandkids over here just being like, yeah, we got this shit, right? And then you got like 6 other grandkids going, we can't fucking carry this shit. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, it's just one of those stories, but so you have a.
Yeah. So that's that. That's all I got going on this week.
That's all you got going on.
Yeah. Besides working.
Well, what happened last week? Anything?
I'm a show. What was last week? I was just tired. I wasn't feeling good because I worked so much. Because it's the time of year where it's starting to pick up. Getting ready to do quarter. The everything reports are due and all this other stuff. So it's just slam. And so that's why I was like, last week I just did it from home because we got off and I went right to bed and damn crashed. Like I told you I was going to. I'm like, yeah. And so this week I'm like, all right, I'll go, go for a little bit there, go home and crash again tonight. See?
Like that, yeah.
So, yeah, man, it's just trying to catch up on sleep.
Tino actually got to my house before I did tonight, and I was actually a little bit surprised. He was just playing WWE 2K23. Mm-hmm. I expected you to actually have the VR headset on and be like going like this, just trying to figure it out, like not even knowing what to do with it. I just figured you'd have it on and be like,
I wasn't even gonna play with it. I was like, I'll play WWE. So what's up?
So this week actually, I didn't think it was going to be any kind of a special week, but it's kind of a special week. I'll go ahead and say that for anybody looking for Rob Pochak books out there right now, Kid Slapshot versus the Zamboni came out this week, and I had one of the covers for it, and it's been selling really well.
Awesome.
Really well. So for those out there looking, I'm going to tell you right now, any of the Kid Slapshot books that you can find, maybe more specifically the Kid Slapshot books that I did the covers of, are doing really well right now, which is kind of weird. The book's good. I've always loved it. I love Troy. his world that he's created is just crazy and everything else. So I absolutely love it. I love everything about what he's done. But it might be the last time that we actually do a cover together or anything else. There might be one more, but whatever. But this week, I've been talking a little bit about a book that I've been working on with another creator, Michael Adams, who does a book called Kung Fu Legume, which I'll explain. It's literally about something happening that causes a bean, a legume, to learn Kung Fu. Fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
The cool thing is that it's weird, but when you look at the book, it's like, as a comic book, you're sitting there going, that's just awesome. And you want to know how awesome it is? Here's how awesome it is, folks. So I know, and we got a lot of people watching right now. I know that a lot of the people that watch our show are comic book. What's the word for it? No, but they specifically are out there looking for certain like books that could be big money books, right?
Collectors.
Comic book collectors is an easy way to say it, but there's another term for it. I don't know what it is. Chris Barrett could probably tell us, but here's the deal. Kung Fu Legume has a small audience, but a big reach. And that doesn't make a lot of sense, and I know it. But let me put it this way. All of our audience out there, let me put it this way, because I love you guys. And Tino loves you guys. Tino's like, Rob's fucking drunk.
Yes.
No, that's not the case. Here's the fact. Kung Fu Legume has been picked up by a showrunner.
Nice.
Which means it is very possible it gets made into a cartoon.
That's awesome.
Now, anybody out there listening, our audience is actually growing as I say this. Anybody out there listening, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, not only does it have a showrunner attached to it, Kung Fu Legume has a guy that worked on SpongeBob.
Nice.
As the showrunner, as the lead writer, as somebody that wants to make this into a cartoon.
That's cool.
Okay? So, go out. First of all, buy all the copies at KeenSpotShop.com to show that KeenSpotShop.com is sold out of Kung Fu Legume.
Okay.
But on top of that, find every copy that you can because I'm telling you, folks,
it's gonna be
this. So a Marvel comic typically has 15,000 copies as a minimum, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fraction of this, it's not even funny. It is scary at how few copies of Kung Fu Legume are actually out there, especially after we announced that we are working with Zero Gravity Entertainment as a management company to sell our products. So I'm just telling you, the amount of copies out there, get your hands on as many as you can. However, I know that you want me to talk about like.
Do your.
Here it is.
So we get the rest of it.
So Michael and I have been working on a book. We've talked about it and not really explained it or anything else. This week we announced it. It is called Zor. And the same guy that wrote and was the artist of Kung Fu Legume, we are working on a book called Zor. Which the best way to describe it, there's two ways that I describe it now. And the first one is it's Pixar meets Wizard of Oz. And I told you that.
Yeah.
The second way to describe it is the biggest stories can sometimes happen in the smallest places.
Oh.
It's a pretty good way to
Yeah.
Like, so let me just tell you folks, I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm hoping that this becomes the first story that like Pixar or Illumination or somebody sits there and goes, God damn, this is good. And we're shopping it around right now. I'm not announcing the actual publisher, but if you go to Instagram and look at my Instagram page, Rob Pochak or Rob Potsy Pochak, you can see Zor right now announced. Tino, you've heard about this. Your thoughts?
It's a concept that I've never heard of. It's a very unique concept, but it's a cool concept. I can't wait to actually, like you show me, like, you know, the rough drafts and things like that. I can't wait to see it actually all come together. But from what I've seen, is like I said, I don't know how much I'm allowed to go into detail.
I mean, you can say whatever you've heard. And because you haven't heard too much.
Yeah. I remember when it first, and you showed me.
And I was like, no, don't say it. Yeah.
You showed me whatever that thing's called.
Well, I probably sent you the PDF, which was like the first 20 pages of actual artwork.
Yeah, but you showed me the description of the different characters and what's happening and all that stuff.
So I sent you the
I forget what you called it.
Yeah, so do I.
Point. But no, I was here. I read it here. But yeah, so I can't wait to see what it's like. The whole concept of how Zor came to be.
Dude,
where it takes place. It's just I never would have thought to put something in that location.
I literally today I was putting an Instagram post together, and the statement that came together for me was the largest stories sometimes come from the smallest spaces.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's good.
I was like, holy shit. Like I wasn't thinking that, but like I was like, I need a line that really sells it, and
that sells it.
And people just don't get it. Last night I was hanging out with a group of people, and I know you want to talk about wrestling, and we're gonna get there.
Yeah, it's not quarter.
I know, but let's be real. People really want to hear about us.
Well, 10 o'clock, they're going to be seeing my ass as I walk out the door. It's 45 minutes.
Oh, I just thought you were going to pull your pants down.
It's not that kind of show.
Not that kind of, thank God.
It's not only.
I don't want to see that. Well, we could make it. We could make it only. Anyways, so last night, I'm sitting there, and somebody's like, how the fuck do you come up with shit like this? And I was like, I don't know. And I mean that. Like I was literally trying to explain that this idea, by the way, Zor came from the idea of the artist saying to me, "Hey, do you want to write this character?" And I told you that. And I saw the artwork and I was like, "Well, what's the story?" And they were like, "There isn't one." And Michael is a writer and an artist of his own right. Like he is good. Like he has a story that they want to, like, the SpongeBob person wants to make a cartoon out of. Like he's good,
Yeah.
right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, he goes, do you want to write a story about this character? And I'm like, what's the character about? And he goes, I don't have a story. I literally just drew a picture. And I'm asking you if you want to write a story about him. And I was like, I had to wrap my head around it, right? And I don't know if this is the same way it works with music or anything else, but I had to wrap my head around it. And I started shooting him ideas. And he goes, I love it. I love it. This, I like this. I want to do this. And then I had 2 paragraphs. You read them. I sent it to him. And the only 2 words that I got back from him were fucking epic. And I was like, I think I'm on to something then. The really cool thing, and we'll get into wrestling right after this, but the really cool thing is that after he said that, I was like, cool. I'll plot out every page. And I wanted, and I asked him, I was like, is it cool if I sit there and plot it, or do you want me to break down every single like thing that happens? And he goes, I can work from the plot.
Cool.
And for those that don't know, Stan Lee used to use this thing called the Marvel method, which was he would basically give a 2-page plot to his artist. The artist would draw the entire 22-page comic. And then Stan Lee would add all the words in from that. I didn't do that because I never would. I wanted more of my vision out there, but at the same time, I wanted to use something that I call a modified Marvel method, right? 20 pages, I sat there and said, hey, here's how I look at this story happening over 20 pages. Here's how the second issue I look at happening over 20 pages. And we did 3 issues of that. And a week later, he goes, all right, here's the artwork for the first issue. A week later.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
And I'm like, holy shit. The last thing I'll mention. No.
You said that like 3 times already.
No, but the last. We're sending it off to other publishers. We're really hoping that someone like Scholastic wants to pick it up.
That'd be cool.
Because, they do Dogman and other books like that. But what's funny is the artist, Michael, was like, I want to do 3 issues. I was like, okay. And he says to me the other night, he's like, I don't know if Scholastic will pick it up for the amount of pages that we wrote it out for. I'm like, okay. And he goes, I'll tell you what, though. They pick it up, I'll draw the extra pages. So if Scholastic requires a minimum of 120 pages, he was like, I'll draw 120 pages. For Scholastic, I'll do it. You know, because, I mean, like, Dogman does like 7 million copies a book. And it's like the only comic book they do. But I laughed because originally, you know, he's like, I'm only doing like maybe 80 pages. 3 books, 80 pages, that's it. And I'm like, no problem, man. Like, I'll keep it. I'll lock it in. Like, I could write the story for 1 book, but if you want to make it 3, I can do that. And all of a sudden, like I got done, and I'm like, man, this is good. This is really good stuff. Like, and by the way, I'm not just saying that because like I think I'm an okay writer or I'm a good writer, but like everybody that I've talked to about it is like, bro, this is really good, you know? So if Scholastic sits there and tells me I gotta write another half of a book, I'm like, I'll fucking write another half of a book. I'm okay with that. But anyways, you ready to talk about wrestling?
Yeah.
You asleep yet?
Getting there.
Sorry, brother. Folks, I apologize, but it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And if you go to Instagram, check out my Instagram, Rob Pochak, or my Twitter, Pochak. You can take a look at it. We'll obviously give those names and everything later. But Tino, let's talk about wrestling.
You got it.
What do you want to talk about first?
What do we leave?
I mean, I guess we could talk about NXT.
All right. What really happened on NXT? Oh, they're going to do and the main thing they're going to do is
a main thing.
They did so I'm trying to figure out where they're going with
Indy.
No, I'll get to her in a minute. Robert Stone and Captain Caveman before Ed.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
So last week we left Stone. He's got the big.
He does, dude, and you're not wrong.
Von Wagner. So last week, Stone was like, "Look, you keep picking fights," and so he fought Dragunov. He said, "If you lose this time, I'm done." Right? So he lost. So he left. This week they picked up. He's like, "Please give me another chance. Give me another chance." And Stone's like, "Why should I?" He said, "I'm ready to open up now." He goes, "I don't believe you." Then he goes, "I want to be a wrestler because my dad was such and such from the Beverly Brothers and did all that." He goes, "Okay, so I'm wondering what they're going to do with him."
Jesus, I can't get this damn thing open.
Indy was out in the ring. No. Roxanne came out, and she was like, "I won the match.
Never should have lost.
Yeah,
never
so
should have blah, blah, blah.
And so Indy came out. Like, I respected you. Huh?
Are they making her heel?
No, she was just taking facts.
You try the new stuff?
Maybe. So she was like, I, and so Indy came out and said, "I respect you, so I'll give you another shot, because you never,
Well, Indy has got to give her the shot.
Yeah, Indy's going to give her a shot, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then, then here comes Tiffany Stratton bitching and kept calling Indy a beatable champion. And so Indy's like, "You know what? I'm tired of you calling me a beatable champion. Fuck you." She said, "I don't like you." And she goes, "I know we're friends." She said, "But you keep calling me a beatable champion, I'll take on both of you." So now it's going to be a triple threat at the next week's, was it the spring break-in, whatever they're calling. So looking forward to that. I'm interested to see that. So I don't think they're going to take that bet off of Indy right now.
I can't see it.
So then you've got Braun Breaker came to the ring to cut a promo, and then what's the dude's name that's part of Chase U now, the Australian dude that has the trophy, so he came down and he goes, "You know what? I challenge you to a fight at spring breaking." And he's like, oh, he'll do now. Andre Chase is going to give you an Andre Chase size ass.
So it's Andre Chase.
So he volunteered Andre Chase to fight Braun Breaker. So.
And we're all going to be cheering for Chase,
yeah, so,
unfortunately,
so
because it's from Carolina.
Yeah, so that match is going to happen. And then you had the Grayson Waller effect with Carmelo Hayes, because Grayson's going against Carmelo now. He's the new.
Yeah. And we said that. Yeah. Like we knew that even before it happened.
They were going shot for shot on the microphone. Grayson kept up with him. It was good.
On the mic, those two are both like stellar, right? Like I mean, we're talking like if they were AEW guys, they'd be going after that TNT championship right now, right? Like that's how good they are.
I think they're going for that. They're fighting over NXT's big top. So I think they're
kidding. And that's just it. Like
so anyway.
Like Carmelo is top tier talent. Mm-hmm. Carmelo's top tier talent. And Grayson Waller, like I mean, like he got Shawn Michaels to where like the entire crowd was thinking Shawn Michaels was coming out of retirement. Yeah. So I mean, like, you think that at some point they actually will push that to the point that
Shawn's not coming back? Shawn's staying retired. He said he's not coming back. He'll probably, like you said, he'll have people fight for him. Shawn's not coming back.
You don't think next year's WrestleMania they sit there and they even do a Shawn Michaels versus Grayson Waller match?
No. Shawn's already said he's not coming back again. And I believe he's going to keep his word.
I would hope.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
He's only broken his word once. And most pro wrestlers break it.
He's not coming back.
But you're right.
Because you think about it, Shawn Michaels is one of the best of anybody.
Dude, his last match where nobody expected him to do shit.
So
he carried that fucker.
You can only gamble it so far. He's not going to come back, and if he shits the bed on that, you know what I'm saying? So I think he wants people to remember him up here.
So, okay.
I mean, anything can happen.
Can I pivot that, even though I know we're talking about NXT here?
Keep it.
Can I pivot that?
Don't go off.
No, I'm only pivoting. Okay. Steve Austin actually came out this week and actually talked about how they asked him to wrestle a match at 39.
And he said he didn't have time for it because he was doing the show and he could only work out for 30 to 45 minutes. He said he had to be in top fucking shape and he knew he wasn't going to be able to do it. And that's why he didn't. I saw that interview.
But what do you think about that? Do you think that means at WrestleMania 40 when they actually ask him?
It's going to have to be, because he's got all this other shit he's doing. They're going to let him know in advance and not short notice shit.
Like, it has to happen now.
Tell him now so he can get himself in the show. And I think, like Sean, it'll be one that is going to have to be worth it. You know what I'm saying? And a one and done. Well, I don't think he's going to keep coming back every year.
Because he said, WrestleMania 40, like, he might not be young enough to do it at WrestleMania 50, right? But WrestleMania 40 is going to be a big fucking thing.
I don't think he'll wrestle. Like, you got to remember, man, these motherfuckers broke neck, broke backs.
Okay, you're absolutely right. At the same time,
Undertaker should have quit when he was ahead with that hip. You know what I'm saying?
But with Austin, he held off for 19 years, right?
And that's why he said the only reason he did that, he didn't want to do a wrestling match. He wanted it to be just like it was. It was a brawl that could lead to a wrestling match. So that's why it worked out for him. It was a brawl. It wasn't really a wrestling match.
Tino absolutely did listen to the actual interview. At the same time, though, he did say that, like, the only reason why I was interested was because I was interested in working with this guy. You give someone that he's interested in working with.
But even then, he didn't want to wrestle. You know what I'm saying?
He still wrestled. It was a brawl. And he knew he was carried. But he actually, like, this whole conversation that he was having was that he could get himself in shape if he knew that he had the time and everything.
Yes.
So WrestleMania 38, it didn't work out. WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania 38, it did work out. WrestleMania 39, it didn't work out. Whatever. WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, we want you there. Get in shape now. Here's $5 million just to get you in shape. We'll work out the details of who you're facing or whatever, and we'll make sure that it's a top guy. Like Steve Austin versus Roman Reigns. Steve Austin turned that down for $5 million.
Roman Reigns, and that's not going to be WrestleMania 40. I guarantee it's probably The Rock.
You know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
We're hypothetically speaking. Is he turning it down $5 million to sit there and just come in, do a stunner, probably have Roman kick out of the stunner, being one of the first 3 guys that have ever kicked out of the stunner?
Possible. Yeah.
Anyways,
I digress.
We obviously don't see that happening. Anyways, let's move on. What show you want to talk about?
They were rolling order. So what was that? That was this week, right? So last night, Monday night. Let's go back because there's a thing I'm trying to figure out. The whole bloodline and fucking Rhea's group.
Okay. So what do you want to know about the bloodline and Judgment Day? Because Paul kind of explained it.
Yeah, and so,
but
was that a one-off? So the Judgment Day lost their end. Solo kept his end up. I'm also want to tell you something funny. It was made me laugh. Rhea was staring fucking Solo down. He's staring him down. Paul goes, "Hey, can you change places with
and then
Solo?"
He changed places, and what
then
happened?
Rhea went right down. I'm like, so what's going on with that? Nobody has a credible female threat to offset Rhea. I know they're not gonna make they're both enforcers of their separate factions, but you're not gonna have Rhea against Solo.
Well, yeah, you're not, because you can't.
Yeah.
But I think that was the point of it, right? At the same time,
I thought that was funny. They were, hey, can you change places with Solo?
Well, they were literally like,
yeah.
And what made it even funnier was the fact that you knew Finn wasn't in on it either.
Yeah.
Finn hated it.
Yeah.
And of course later in the night you got the whole, so what did you think of the whole thing, Finn? He's like, eh. And everybody else is like, yeah, we fucking did what we did. And Finn's like, meh.
He's like, man. And Paul walked away. He answered the phone. He meh me.
What the fuck's up with the meh? So
I'm interested to see where that goes.
I think it's going to end up with the Judgment Day versus the Bloodline.
2 heel factions. Somebody's going to have to turn.
Yes. And no.
No, there's no. There's yes.
How many people cheer the Bloodline? They cheer it all the time. Acknowledge me. How many people cheer Judgment Day?
They cheer Rhea. They don't cheer the Judgment Day.
See what I mean?
But it's not the Judgment Day. It's Rhea.
You take Rhea out of the video package, she suddenly is just worrying about Charlotte Flair or whoever she's going up against against the female championship. And before you know it, you have 3-on-3, 3-on-4, whatever. Suddenly the Judgment Day is the babyface group.
Another thing. Okay. Okay.
You know, right?
Yeah. Another thing that I'm not really happy about.
What show is it on?
Well, it's Raw and SmackDown. It's the tag team champions. So they're doing Night of Champions in Saudi. Guess who doesn't fucking go to Saudi?
Did you see my texts or my tweets about that?
Guess who doesn't fucking go to Saudi?
You're not wrong.
So one thing I heard that they might do, which they might have just keep the Raw titles on Zayn and Sami Zayn and Owens and let them go to Raw, and then have the SmackDown titles up for grabs or whatever on SmackDown, and those go to Saudi.
So there's also the possibility, one,
or they're just going to take, but I don't see them taking the belts off of them so quickly.
So today there was a tweet made by the WWE Twitter, so at WWE, and it said, "What have you thought about the tag team championships being on Sami and Kevin?" And it said 18 days. Okay, now think about that. Considering the Usos had them for 560 days, or so it said 18 days, right? Your statement of what are they going to do? I will tell you right now, as soon as they announced that it was Night of Champions, instead of the King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi, I was like, so Kevin and Sami are going to have the titles. However, before this year, when was the last time the tag team titles were defended on WrestleMania? If you don't have an answer, it's okay, because I don't.
Didn't Bros do
it? It was years ago, man. Years. So let me point out that Night of Champions is going to end up being a night of single champions. And before you go anywhere with it, I've already stated that you know what championship should be champion against champion, not necessarily for the belts, but champion versus champion. You know what it should be?
The United States and the Intercontinental.
Nope. Should be Roman versus Carmelo. Not to anticipate that Carmelo could beat Roman, but to give him the rub after a 30-minute match, and when it finally ends, Roman sits there and shakes his hand and says, "I look forward to seeing you when you're on the main roster." Won't happen. Yeah. But, I don't know if you saw the email this week that said who's in charge of creative. But Vince McMahon himself said that Triple H is now 100% in charge of creative, and that it shouldn't affect anybody's standing.
Vince is in charge of creative.
There was also a message from Nick Khan that came out that said, we're going to start cutting places, and we're going to cut $50 million out of the budget. Right? What's the first thing you think of when you hear that?
Talent.
You know what the message also said? Not going to affect talent, and it's not going to affect creative. So, interestingly enough, I'm glad you said that, and I wanted you to say that. That's exactly what I wanted you to say.
What?
That it was going to affect talent.
Okay.
Because if it doesn't affect talent, it means that WWE is going to start cutting the fat around what makes the talent good, right? So we're going to start seeing like story editors that don't know fucking garbage about things being like, hey, you make $300,000 a year, you're gone. Like, that's. But Nick Khan flat out stated the cuts we're going to make to save $50 million a year are not going to be talent.
But they also did a hiring freeze too, though, so they're not really hiring talent.
The rumor is that there is no talent freeze.
Okay.
The talent freeze that we hear about really is because the talent just chooses not to go to WWE. Jay White, for example. At the same time, let me ask you, Tino, like, and I'm sorry, guys, I really want to talk about some of the other programs, but
yeah,
Jay White. If Jay White walked into WWE,
with Vince back in control, he'd be buried.
No. Even with Triple H 100% in control, where's Jay White walk in? Who's he facing? And do 80% of the people watching WWE programming know who the fuck he is?
Sure they do. I mean, because you got a lot of people who watch different. Nowadays, you have people watching different.
Where does he walk in then? So I agree with you that they should know who he is.
NXT? To introduce him to the WWE people?
So then why would he ever sign with WWE when he could sign... Hold on. When he could sign with AEW and instantly be on their main roster?
That's what I'm saying. But if they where would they put him in the main roster? I mean, because Raw, Cody just showed up. You put him on SmackDown, he's not going to be beaten. He's not going against Roman anytime soon.
Kind of my point. And then he walks into AEW and suddenly he's like already on TV, right? Like,
but he's mid card though.
Is he?
He's with Juice, and they're feuding with what's my name?
He's on the Friday show, Rampage mainly. But let me ask you this, and this is what I really mean, is that like he's established, but if we were to bring him into the WWE, would the WWE audience know him? The answer is no.
I think you're wrong there.
Introducing AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble.
And that pop, he got people knew who AJ Styles was.
But AJ Styles was a lot bigger.
I don't know.
It's tough, right? Am I wrong?
You think they don't know?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Am I wrong that it's tough to decide like whether or not? Or are you saying like I am 100% wrong?
No, I think you're 100% wrong. You're saying nobody in W would know who he was when he walked on.
Not saying nobody. I don't want you to think that. I'm sorry if that's the way I made it sound.
Yeah.
I think that it's not nobody knows, but it's a lower percentage.
Comments.
It's a good point. We haven't looked at that in a while. Chris Barrett says Jay White will be jobbing to Ron Killings.
I don't know why I told you check.
Say that out loud.
That's
Say it out loud.
Let's go to Dag on what do you call it? The last night show.
Oh, last night's show?
Yeah,
All
you were
right.
asking me.
Dynamite.
You were asking me.
Dynamite.
You were asking me something about off the air. You were confused. What were you confused about?
I was confused about the fact that at the end of the show.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the show. I don't even think. I don't know when the show's up. I like Jungle Boy came out.
Yep.
Before he can open his mouth, Sammy Guevara's music hit. Before he can open his mouth, Darby's music hit. So all three of them are going on the mic, giving their little
The
promo.
three pillars. Yeah.
And then MJF came out and did his 2 cents. So backstage, and Guevara was giving an interview, and Sammy came up and said, "You're the only one out of all of them that I respect and that I like." He said, "So what I'm gonna do is." He said they were going to do the 3 pillars match. So whoever wins that tournament gets to face him. He said, and I'm like, how about I help you win? He said, but, and I'll give you a chance to main event at a pay-per-view. But when you get there, you're going to lay down for me. He's like, no, I'm not like, fuck you. Da, 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 da. He goes, I'll tell you what. Okay. I'm going to give you this check. It's blank. And he turns back and you write however many zeros. So Sammy's like, right, and he's showing her, and she's like, no more. So he goes, okay, and then he gave it to him, and it's like, that's a lot of zeros, but is that what it's going to take? He said, yeah, that's what it's take. He said, I guarantee you'll make it to the finals of the whatever tournament they're having. So that's why he came out and helped Guevara win at the end. But I think what's going to happen is, I don't want Guevara to win. I actually want it to be Sting Jr. But I think what's going to happen is
Darby.
Yeah, I want it to be Darby. But I think what's going to happen is MJF's going to help Guevara win all the way to the finals, and Guevara's going to double cross him and take the belt.
I don't think that's going to happen. And I also, it's a good setup and everything. I think the first thing that I didn't like about this whole setup was that Guevara ended up being the winner here. And the reason why I say it is because, they're obviously building for Jungle Boy to get to the next level, right?
I thought they were building for Darby.
Well, they are. But the two that they should be building towards are the baby faces, not the other side. Which
all three of the other pillars. No, so the baby faces are Jungle Boy and Darby, and then the heel, I guess would be
Sammy and
MJF.
And the way that they're doing it, it should be the two baby faces. And for whatever reason, they always seem to come up with a way to beat the shit out of Jungle Boy. And if I were Jungle Boy at this point, I'd be like, hey, when's my contract up? Not saying that that's what he's doing. Not saying that's what he should be doing. Because he's not. Because, he's thinking WWE wouldn't know what the fuck to do with me. Let's be real.
Okay.
And they wouldn't. He'd be, let's go ahead and restart the Cruiserweight Championship with this dude. That's what they'd be thinking, right? Am I wrong? I'm probably right.
No, I think they could probably do something with him.
Well, they
probably
do. They don't. No.
They probably put him in. Probably either Intercontinental or I don't see him going for the World title. They're probably Intercontinental or US strap.
And that is still when when push comes to shove, the idea of what is like, what are we able to sit there and go against or whatever? Like the whole idea of, are they going to, I don't even know what I'm saying. Sorry. Go ahead.
Then we got Wardlow and Hobbs. So Hobbs lost his belt in PA, and then we had Luchasaurus come down, which was weird for me. So I guess now they're going to go into a Luchasaurus and Wardlow feud for that title.
The fuck was the whole Hobbs thing about? The fuck was the whole Hobbs thing about?
I think Wardlow might have been hurt. They were trying to. He's probably a placeholder. So we'll see what they're going to do with Hobbs after this. Maybe he'll still be in the title picture. I don't. Okay, so then you had Britt Baker and the champion. They went against the Outcast earlier in the night, and so Britt Baker and Hayter, I believe they won that. No, they lost.
They lost.
All right. So later in the night, when Jericho,
but it all
came back. So
came
when Jericho
together, yeah.
And Adam Cole were in the ring, which I thought was an excellent promo. I thought it was a good promo. I thought it was good back and forth. I like the way that Adam Cole complimented Jericho's like, I based my career off you. Even my catchphrase, the "Bay Bay," was, that's based on you. And then Jericho came back to Classic Hill. I don't respect you. I'm thank you for all the nice things you said about me, but I don't respect you. And so it was
love it.
And so they of course they started fighting. Britt comes out in her hometown, Pittsburgh, to try to save her man. She slaps Jericho. Next, because we've already had back up. Jericho's other dude, the part of the JS, the what's his name?
It's probably
the MMA dude, the one who used to be the pure
Jake
champion.
Hager.
No, he used to be the pure champion. The other dude. Anyway, he came in. Garcia came in. They jumped. Jericho and Garcia jumped Cole. Britt came out to try to help. She smashed Jericho. Didn't realize behind her that the Outcast came. Garcia has handcuffed Adam Cole to the bottom of the ropes. Jericho can't get in. Yeah, Jericho has the kendo. You think he is about to start beating the shit out of Cole. He turns. He gives the kendo stick to I think it was Soho.
Yeah.
And Soho proceeded to beat the fuck out of Britt, and Adam Cole could not do anything. So
Britt Baker is suddenly the biggest baby face in AEW.
So does it mean the Outcast and it's part of the JAS now, or
no? I just think that it's a alliance.
Okay, so because Cole he doesn't have his boys with him anymore, which I'm wondering.
You mean the UE?
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't have them. And Britt's only got her and Jamie Hayter. They don't really have anybody. So I'm interested to see what kind of faction if Cole if Adam what's his name, Kyle O'Reilly comes back.
I wouldn't be surprised to see if Kyle O'Reilly comes back, because it would be we didn't have anything in this position, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now Kyle O'Reilly's.
Do you think we're bring back Fish too?
No.
So who they come back with Kyle? Because they need.
Doesn't matter.
Then speaking of, and then I'll be done. Then speaking of faction. Well, no, it's a couple of things. Not only in that Wardlow match.
You say what you gotta.
Not only in the Wardlow match did they have Wardlow come out. He is now managed by AA Arn Anderson.
I saw that.
Who came out and fucked up QT, which was kind of funny.
So You want me to be real?
Hmm?
You want me to be real?
I think they're trying to read because they fucked up Wardlow so bad. It's not going to hurt him to have a mouthpiece and to have somebody of an Arn Anderson to help rebuild him. I think if they keep him quiet and let Arn do the talking for him, it'll bring him back. It'll bring him back.
You want me to be real?
If it doesn't take, yeah, because it's not.
I'm gonna try to say this really quick. Here's the deal. You were like, oh God. I don't think that like I literally look at the AEW breakdown, and for whatever reason, I think they looked at it and they went, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. And I say that because, like, why the fuck would Arn Anderson suddenly be with Wardlow? Wardlow was fine, and suddenly he's got Arn Anderson. What the fuck, dude?
They fucked Wardlow. I mean, he once they lost that title for no reason, and they didn't know what. I don't think they knew what to do with Wardlow. So I think they're trying to repackage him. They're going to repackage him with Arn.
I agree, but why does that help Wardlow?
I don't think Wardlow's that good of a mic.
I think Wardlow's fine.
I think Wardlow needs to shh and be like a Solo Sikoa, just shh, and just go out there and fuck shit up. Arn goes.
Wait.
Arn's the one that.
Wait. When you say that you think that he should just shh, like Solo Sikoa, when Paul Heyman got in his face, what did he do?
But he's the man of few words, is what I'm saying. He's not out there cutting promos and talking shit.
There you go.
Paul,
okay,
that's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. Arn should be the one doing the talking and going to kick his ass, and Wardlow goes out and kicks his ass.
Except, I'm going to tell you the thing that I don't like about it. How long has it been since he won that title?
Since who won that title?
Fucking, what's his face?
Hops at it for 42 days.
42 days.
Oh, he's not Roman Reigns. He's going to keep the bitch for 3 years.
We knew he wasn't going to keep it for 43 years or whatever. 43 years.
I said 3 years.
No. He's not going to keep it for 43 years. But seriously, like, you look at it and it's like, okay, 42 days? 42 days is nothing. Like, it's literally 4 defenses. Are you kidding? Like, the whole that championship, to me, I look at it and I go, and I mean this. I'm like, is it worth even going after that title now? The last time it was worth anything was when Cody had it. And I hate saying that because I never thought Cody should have had it. So anyways, SmackDown last week. Anything?
No.
So anything else?
I'm trying to think.
Well, there was Raw.
We already talked about Raw.
Did we?
Yeah, we were talking about the Judgment Day. I went through all the different things in Raw. Only other thing is, I guess Cody has challenged Brock, so we're gonna see.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, he's gonna win.
Who?
Cody. They already fucked him over with Roman.
You think he's gonna win?
I know he's gonna win. They got to build him back up, and a win over Brock will build him back up.
You want to bet $1 on it?
Yeah, I'll bet $1. He's gonna.
I'll bet $1. All right. I'll bet $1.
You see this? So when Brock wins, when Cody wins, I want my $1.
No, that's fine. I think that is a fair, and everybody here saw it. If Brock wins, I get $1.
Yep.
If Cody wins, you get $1.
Get ready to pay up.
That's okay. I'm gonna laugh.
Why?
I'm gonna laugh.
When Cody wins.
When Brock wins. And you're like, you son of a bitch!
Nah.
You're going to get so angry.
No, I'm not going to pull a Jason. But,
so this guy should not have lost.
no, it was Oscar.
I know.
He's on cry.
But, her grandmother.
You need to apologize to him, too.
No.
You need to apologize.
No, hold on. Did someone knock on the door?
You need to apologize
Hey,
to Soda.
go knock on the door.
No.
Go knock on the door.
It is 10 o'clock. I'm knocking my car door. Apologize to Jason about the soda first.
Nope.
You said you were going to.
Why would I apologize for the soda?
Remember, you said you ragged him about taking the last one and he didn't.
Well, I said we both needed to do that because you even got on him about it.
No, I didn't. That was you. You don't take a man's last soda. I just laughed. All I did, I said
that was not how this conversation happened before we started tonight.
I said, Rob, you took your last soda.
That was yeah. That was not how this conversation. So Jason,
I thought he took the last soda.
We thought you took my last root beer. You did not. Tino said that it'd be good to sit there and explain that to everybody.
Yeah, he took the last soda, and he didn't.
And he did not.
But he did knock on the door, and all three of us were sitting on his couch.
Which door? That door right there. That door right there when there's nobody that can get into it.
All right.
Anyway.
That's all I got.
So, all right. What the fuck did you do?
So you got this one, you got that.
No. Hold on. Tino's asking about this plug that I just bought. I bought 3 of them. Hold on. I know, I'm trying to really make it like there's 4 plugs.
Yeah, I see that.
But these plugs, the bottom 2 are like the top spatial, like whatever. So I bought 3 of them so I could put them on 3 different areas that I needed the most amount of power.
Okay.
That's why I bought them.
All right. I was curious. So then you have that one.
Oh, these are garbage.
Okay.
Yeah, like this is actually the Apple one. And it's
Why is it garbage?
$30 or whatever.
Why is it garbage? No, I got one of these that it's Apple, but it's got the 2 things because I plug in my smartwatch and my phone. It's got the 2. Yeah, it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
I only need 2.
It's not the same thing.
Anyway.
He asked. I tried to explain it just by showing him. He's like, no.
Anyway.
With that all said, was there anything Monday Night Raw that you thought blew you away? Because I'll be honest, I wasn't disappointed by the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the show kept me involved the entire time. It really did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I looked at it and I was like, okay, I'm not like I could go to sleep. You know what I mean?
It is a good show. But like I said, it wasn't blowing me away. It was a pretty decent show.
Yeah.
I interested.
But like Monday Night Raw has 2 feels. It's either, God, this is garbage, or yeah, I'm going along with it, right?
Yeah.
So is that how you felt?
Yeah.
So Tino, what do you got going on this weekend?
We already did that one.
No.
Yes, I did.
This weekend, you got
I
anything?
said that.
Anything new? No, you don't. Okay. Anyways, I'm not.
You are slurring.
I'm not slurring.
Just then you didn't.
I don't slur. See? Anyways, so folks, with that all said, hold on. No, we actually have somebody saying something. Michael Turney says.
What did he say?
Michael Turner, I will see you in Fayetteville.
What did he say?
He said, see you at the Comic-Con next weekend.
Oh, damn, yeah.
So, Tino.
Excuse me. You can find me on the Twitter machine at HoodieFan91. You can find me on the Instagram. I'm SC Tino. You can find us on Twitter. We're Potsy and Tino. Facebook, we're the Potsy and Tino Show. Each and every week we're right here on the Possum Pants Network.
What's their song called and everything?
What? We want to say thanks to Adam's House Cat for all the wrestling songs. You can buy that on iTunes for 99 cents.
Until
I get done writing my shit. It's clicking, but I'm really about to pass out.
Thank you so much.
No, you got to give your handles.
I was about to.
You were like, thank you so much.
No, I said thank you so much. You can reach me at.
I just thought
you know,
about to sign out.
I'm about to have a drink. Here we go. You can reach me at Rob Pochak on Instagram, at Rob Potsy Pochak on Instagram, on Pochak on Twitter.
Is that all of them?
On TikTok.
Jesus.
It's Rob.
Jesus.
You know what? You don't normally get me, but you got me there. You know what? It doesn't even matter.
He forgot.
No, I didn't forget. I just don't want to waste anybody else's time.
Like you were thinking about it. I'm like,
I mean,
you don't know your Twitter. You don't know your handles.
Rob Potsy Pochak on TikTok. There we are. So there it is. Rob Pochak on Instagram. Rob Potsy Pochak on Instagram. Pochak on Twitter. Rob Potsy Pochak on TikTok.
Okay.
Rob Pochak on YouTube, which is where they're watching right now.
Do you do Twitch anymore?
Not really.
Okay.
But it's Rob Pochak on Twitch. There you go.
All right.
So, with that all said, thank you, Tino, for really aggravating me. But at the same time, folks, we love all of you.
Anybody before? Are they still in the...
We still got some chats.
Yeah, that's still
Michael Turner says 99.
99.
He actually said 99. Michael, you know I hate that, man.
99.
But Michael, I will see you in Fayetteville this weekend. I know that you said you're going to be there.
Cool.
Tino, I'm going to actually put that fucking VR headset on you before you leave tonight. You're going to try it out.
Well, you need to hurry up because I'm telling you. I knew I should have did this shit from home.
Oh, yeah.
but I still got the drive.
We're going to, and I'm not going to videotape it or anything, folks, but Tino needs to see it. But other than that, we need to go ahead and call it a night. Although we've been on less than 2 hours.
It's a fucking miracle.
What do you mean?
Because you're like herding cats. I had to keep rubbing you in. Yeah, it was that bad. I don't know how much wrestling we actually talked about.
Oh, you're supposed to rub my head when I'm herding like cats. But anyways.
No. That ain't happening.
What was I trying to do?
You're trying to find an outro song. What you were trying to do?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, no.
You're right. You're right. For once. Here we go. Tino, anything else?
I want to go to bed.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, good. See you next week on Kill's Podcast.